Hey guys, this is episode 49 of the Double Cross Anime podcast. We're coming up on the big number.
Hmm.
I'm Whooper,
And I'm Mario.
and the winter season is almost done. So we're going to
Uh,
do
yep.
episodes 12 of Mob Psycho, Kaguya-sama, Promise Neverland, and Dororo. The second and third series that I just mentioned there, Kaguya and Neverland, are ending, so we're going to be discussing their finales. And then we've got
Mhm.
the last three episodes of Gunbuster to talk about as well.
Right.
Any Did you have a thought there, Mario, before we get started?
No, I just wanted to mention that we got a finale for um, Promise Neverland
And
and
Kaguya.
Kaguya-sama, which you already mentioned that.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So we're on the same page.
Yep.
Um, where should we start?
Let's start with the one that already finished.
Okay, so Kaguya or Neverland?
Yep. Let's go with Neverland first.
All right. It's
Oh.
over. Oh my god, it's finally over.
Oh my! You seem too so happy. In fact, too happy about that.
Yeah,
About the fact that it's over.
I actually when I said that, when I realized that this is the last time we're ever going to have to talk about Neverland, barring potential coverage of the sequel in 2020, I guess.
Yep.
When I realized that, all of a sudden I got this big grin on my face. Like, I'm so happy we don't have to do this anymore.
All right. First note, we have, like you said, we have the sequels, which gonna be out in 2020s, and
Hmm.
if we still blocking, if we still doing the postcard by then, this might be one of the options
Maybe.
that
I don't
we're
know
gonna
if we
cover.
will. Like, that's a long time from now. I don't know. I'm
Mm.
down. I've been thinking about it recently. Like, I'm down to keep the podcast going into 2020 if it's something you're
Mm.
interested in. But I think I would want to change the format.
All right. How would you want to change the format though?
What I'm thinking is that we would do less seasonal stuff. So we
Yep.
would still do like a first impressions and
Yep.
maybe like a mid-season check-in, and
Yep.
then um, like a closing seasonal roundup.
Right.
So that
Right.
would be out of every like 12 or 13 week season, three full episodes would be dedicated to seasonal stuff. But then in between, we would just like watch movies, watch older shows, um, stuff like that.
All right.
That's what I'm thinking.
All right. I don't mind that though, but I think we can skip like two shows, two seasonal shows, and then like the others just like movies and classic shows that we wanted to watch. Like we rewatch or just like new stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
yeah.
but
We
anyway, we
could
can this. Yep. Go on.
For example, if I know we've talked about we have a plan to do a best of the decade, end of the
Mhm.
decade video
Yep.
at the close of this year. But if we want to do like a best of the 2000s, we could make like one of the
Wow.
targets of our rewatching,
Oh
like best
wow.
of 2000 stuff in 2020, so that we can have it ready by the end of that year. These are just like thoughts that are I've got swirling around up in my head.
That actually a very good idea.
Well, thank you.
Um, one thing though, like the best of 2000, I don't remember that 2000 many have that many shows. Like in 2000 and 2001, they are really spare in terms of anime.
I agree. However,
Yep.
I mean, it can still be done. I have just as many favorites from like 2006 to 2009
Yep.
as I do. Well, maybe with the exception of one year. But I have as many favorites from those years as I do from like the all the years in this decade.
Right. Right.
And then go ahead.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. Like I just searched for 2009. They have a lot of good stuff there. A lot.
Yeah, man.
Well.
Cross Game,
Yep.
and you got Cross Game and
Brotherhood.
Cross Game. I Have you seen Full Metal Alchemist?
No,
You
have
haven't, right? Yeah.
have never seen any of these versions.
Right. Yeah, that's a little strange. I mean, there's nothing wrong with not having seen it, but so many people get into anime via Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah.
That's a gateway for tons of people.
Yeah, it might have to do with the fact that I'm not really that fond on shonen shows, so I'm get into anime by Kyoto Animation shows.
Right.
So yeah, it's like the opposite side, the opposite spectrum of anime compared to shonens.
Right.
Cute
Yeah.
girls doing cute things,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
There's
well,
KyoAni has lots of great stuff.
I'm just like the other target demography, I think.
Yeah. I suppose so.
Yeah, and yeah, 2009 have really a lot of good shows. The start of a Monogatari series.
Oh yeah,
Monogatari.
Bake was 2009, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yep. K-On! Was 2009.
Yeah, K-On! As well.
Oh, Eren, Kimono no Soja Eren, the Beast Tamer.
The Beast Tamer. I have
Yeah.
actually no idea what that is.
That's
Is it?
it's pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Beast Tamer makes it sound like a shonen, but it's not.
All right, and we have like Erin, like a children's show about the girl with green hair.
Eren, right?
Yeah, Erin. Yep.
That's the one I was just talking about. Kimono
Oh,
no
is it?
Soja Eren.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
Because I have heard a lot of good things about that show.
Yeah, it's quite good. It's 51 episodes, and it kind of trails off towards the end. It doesn't conclude very strongly, I don't believe.
Yep.
But I would say that its early material is among the best of that year.
All right. Well, and we got like Eden of the East, of Phantom Requiem of the Phantom.
I tried that show, and I just
good.
could not get into it at all.
Right.
It was so grim.
Oh wow. All right. Let's get back to our topic though.
Do we have to?
Yeah. I don't think so. No, we can just go on and on like this. This is our
Alright.
postcard, by the way, so we can do whatever we want.
Yeah, that's right. Our low viewer count leaves us with fewer obligations than normal.
All right. So we just burn like basically half of the time that we need to talk about Promised Neverland, which I think you probably prefer it this way. So you
I
don't
guess. I
you
mean,
don't
I
need
do.
to
I
talk
do have
more about
something.
Promised. All right.
I do have
Yep.
something kind of unexpected to say,
Right.
and that's that I enjoyed this episode.
All right. I think this episode in particular closed the show very well. I agree. I definitely agree with you on that.
Well, I don't know about like, it's the only one that closed the show.
I mean like, it's like one of the better episodes out of this whole series.
Huh.
It's
I
my
guess it. I mean, I liked watching it, so I guess it probably is. But part of my enjoyment just had to do with how ridiculous everything
ridiculous.
happening on screen was. I was enjoying it almost ironically, like the scene where Don he ties the rope to the rock and
Yep.
slingshots it all the way across that gigantic canyon and
Yep.
ties it around the the tree branch. That was just so stupid that I couldn't help but like it.
All right, you have seen how much effort, how hard he tried. So that
So what?
like you have seen that literally like few seconds ago. So then there's no way that he would miss.
Yeah. I mean, of course not.
All right, tell me more why you enjoy that finale of Promised Neverland.
Just I don't know. The show seemed to move with purpose, because it was time for them to actually escape instead of it being like another misfire, or
Yeah.
another let's sit around and discuss things and explain things for
Yep.
20-some minutes.
Right.
So it actually felt somewhat suspenseful because there was like the clock was ticking.
Right.
But honestly, like maybe I would say the episode was better constructed than average, as opposed to last week where it was just an explanation of the fact that Norman had a plan, You know,
Yep.
it was Norman's plan all along. This time we got to actually see the plan unfolding, and the flashbacks to the kids training and practicing
Mm-hmm.
for the execution of the plan felt a lot better
Mm-hmm.
than the reveal did last week,
Yep.
because we got to see them taking the same actions in the present that they did in the past.
Yep. Yep.
So the parallel was a lot stronger.
All right. Um, Part of me that enjoyed the episodes is the opposite way that though. It's more I really enjoy the Isabella, like flashback,
Ah,
because I I actually think that the show stopped for once, stopped being engrossed for one, in order to really explore the, like the what one of the character had been going through like internally, not
mm,
like all these, like on the plan to get out of here, on this kind of stuff. So actually, it actually start to, like just sit down and let it sink, and I really like it.
I see. Well, how'd you feel about the Sister Crone um, section at the start of episode 8, I think, when it
Yeah,
details her backstory before her death?
it's alright. Uh, the thing was that the way to her death were ridiculous to me. So that take me a bit out, like the incredible of the backstories. This one function kind of the same way, but it also show you the parallel between the young Isabella and those kids right now. So I actually really enjoy that. And one thing that we have to notice though is that she bearing a child, and the child turned out to be Ray.
Oh,
That
yes, yes, yes.
that actually unexpected, and that actually something that I want to see more.
Well, I mean, he's escaped now.
Yeah, well, that actually like make you questions like all the way before, like how these two, form their relationship and become uh when Ray was a rat and stuff.
Yeah, you have to wonder, um, like, did she recruit him as a spy, as a double agent, as a means of being close to him?
Yep, yeah, that's right.
And
And
given this reveal, you can, I think we can safely assume that she did, even if it wasn't on a conscious level.
yep, and I think she did freak out for a bit last
Yeah.
episode when she found out that like Ray was lighting himself on fire.
Oh, yeah. I guess that's true.
Yeah. So yeah, it does explain some of her behaviors. So I like it.
Yeah.
What the
I mean, I still think that her characterization has been hit or miss.
mm,
I
all
read
right,
online that there's been an effort from the director of the anime to make Isabella more sympathetic than she was in the manga.
all right. Uh,
Um, but nevertheless, like, they're still incorporating shots and scenes of her where she looks, extremely threatening or um,
Smoke.
evil. Yeah.
Yep.
So all the all the stuff that they're doing to make her more likable or more relatable. Um, I
Backfire.
mean, I guess it works.
All right.
I don't
Yep.
know.
All right.
I think there's a contradiction between the way she talks about, like, her her precious children, her cute children who she loves,
Yep.
and the way that she so doggedly pursues Emma, Ray, and Norman and tries so hard to shut down their escape. I mean, in the end of this episode, she comes to terms with the fact that they've gone.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't feel as though we really led up to that too successfully.
Yep. All right. So one another bit of information that we got is that Phil, the kid, they they actually, like he understand everything. He know about the situation, but he decided to stay so that he could protect all these like under 4 years old kids.
Yeah.
How do you think about that? How do you take? What
All
what is
right.
your take?
So last week I speculated that you know, they were gonna have to go back for Phil. That was gonna be what happened in episode 12.
Yep.
Um, but instead, we get a flashback to 4-year-old Phil understanding everything about Mama, the plant, the demons, all because Sister Crone used the word harvest when they were playing tag,
Yeah.
and because Emma acted scared of Mama after Norman left. Like he takes those two things and immediately processes as a 4-year-old child
Yep.
everything that Emma tells him about
And
this
and
horrible situation that they're in.
and he would immediately realize that it is the better option that he stay and protect all the other kids.
Yeah, that's the most ridiculous thing. Not even him having unreal logical capacity and emotional maturity for a 4-year-old. This is something that not even a 4-year-old prodigy would, you know, be able to process like this.
God.
But he's upset when he hears all this and it finally clicks into place for him. And his worst fears are confirmed, and he starts crying and like hugging Emma. But then she starts talking about, I should I leave the 4 and under kids or should I take them? And immediately, like on a dime, he stops crying. He's no longer emotional. He looks up at her with big, bright blue eyes and a huge smile on his face and says, "Go ahead. Leave us behind. I'll take care of them. I'm Super Phil."
All right.
It's
Yep. That's what
honestly,
happened.
that scene right there is the main reason that I like this episode, because it was so stupid. It was so implausible, so convenient for the author to have Emma break her like moral desire to take everyone with her. It's like Phil is just a giant plot device.
All right.
He's like have you ever played the Pokemon games?
No, I haven't.
Really? Okay. Well, there's a daycare where you can leave one of your Pokemon,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
and it will, while you continue on your journey, the daycare will raise that Pokemon for you.
All
Phil
right.
is the Pokemon daycare of the Promised Neverland. She's just gonna leave all the 4 and under kids with Phil, go on her journey, and eventually they'll be able to come back for them.
Go back in 2 years. In two
Yeah.
years, she gonna save everyone, and she didn't even think that like in 2 years there gonna be a lot more kids, a lot more infants, and how the hell that she could save them if she didn't save them now?
I don't
And
know.
all
Well, I
these
mean, but she
things.
couldn't. Ray was right from the very beginning.
Yep.
They should have taken just a few. Well, I mean, in my opinion, they should have
Yep.
taken just a few people. It's great that Norman is a super mega genius and that his plan worked out exactly, the way he wanted it to, and Don was able to get that rock across the across the cliff, and they were able to use the coat hangers to slide down.
Yep. They
I
did.
mean, that scene was pretty cool. It was a neat idea. Kind of fun in a ridiculous way. And they all escaped, and
All right.
season 2 next year.
All right. How would you rate this shows personally?
I wouldn't. I don't recommend that anyone watch this. All the hype and excitement for it, I don't personally share. I think it's
Yep.
fine, and I think it's natural that people be excited by this sort of premise, because it is, like it promises a lot of, tension and
Thrills.
danger, thrills. Yes. So if that's what you're in the market for, then give it a try. But personally, I've found the bad music editing, the clunky CG in the house, the limited color palette, which just seems to swap between blue and orange, and sometimes it's green when they're outside. The lacking depth of character, the inconsistent logic, all those things are just gigantic strikes against the series for me. So, not a fan out of 10.
All right. All
How
right.
about you?
For me, I'm not that harsh on the show. I still find some enjoyment out of it. I do feel like the anime version uh, shut out on the tension from its premise. Like some of the scene you can see like how they just basically screaming in the middle of the night while knowing that everyone watching them, but they still like burst out and almost sing into song. It's and some of the event are not subtle at all, so they really obvious. And like you say, the last episode there are some incredible moments that it's just so over the top. It enjoyable itself.
Yeah.
Presentation wise, it's not good. It just the direction, the camera movement was really questionable, and some of the interior scenes are too dark, like too CG. It just like stand out in the bad ways. But overall, it's alright. I think I don't mind watching it, and I don't like I I don't kick myself for for not dropping it. So
Yes.
yeah, enjoyable.
Okay.
Not good, not great, but enjoyable.
Did you say when you were talking about them being too loud at night? Did you say singing?
Yeah, they almost feel like they burst out singing.
Can you imagine how amazing the series would have been if it had been a musical?
It might be it might be really really cool.
I want to see the Promised Neverland musical.
Well,
I'd
that's
watch that for sure.
yeah, that would be really cool actually. With all these over the top actions.
Well, maybe it'll get one.
Well,
It's since it's so popular.
if they be smart enough, they're gonna squeeze out the musical out of it.
All right. Well, we'll just
Don't
have to wait
count
for
that.
that day.
For the second season though, it will wait. For now though, I don't really feel the need to watch the second seasons.
All right. Okay.
All right,
Cool.
let let's get to your pet show of the season, Kaguya-sama.
It's not just my bet. I think a lot of people are into it,
Right.
and
All
I'm
right.
I'm pretty critical of my pets, I guess.
Right. All right.
But I thought this
Go on.
episode was pretty good.
All right. Yeah. From what we gather, this episodes the firework is like one of the stable chapter in the manga that like raise up the 4chan forum and all this hype.
Yeah, I
And
haven't seen that thing that Aiden linked in the Discord.
no, I haven't. I haven't either.
Yeah, but yes, it's very popular manga. It seems to be like every new chapter coming out is a big event, and yeah, the fireworks one, since it's a big dramatic moment in a largely comedic series, it probably turned a lot of heads.
All right. How do you feel about these firework, their adventures?
I really liked it. The main thing I liked about it, if I had to point to one thing, it would be that the difference in the two situations, because it was a part one and part two type of deal. Like
Right.
it was two
Yep.
chapters.
Yep.
In
Yep.
the first one, she can't hear the fireworks because she is, locked away in a room.
Yep.
And in flashbacks, she's looking out a window and seeing the fireworks, which are too far away,
Mhm.
and then she's not able to go on the shopping trip with her friends. So she's in despair
Yep.
because of her family situation and her inability to connect with other people and to be honest with herself and all that sort of thing. So
Mhm.
there's a very negative feeling surrounding the first part. But in the second part, the reason that she can't hear the fireworks is because the beating of her heart is too loud
Yeah.
when they're in
Car.
in a very very unique setting. They're seeing the fireworks from a taxi cab.
Yep.
I don't think that's something I've ever seen before.
Yep.
And so the fact that it like recontextualizes the phrase, Kaguya can't hear the fireworks. It gives it a
No.
totally different meaning, a much more positive, romantic, and heartfelt one.
Yep.
I thought that was very poetic.
Hmm.
So I was a fan of the way this two-part thing was structured.
Right. Well, I really like the act itself, the event. I actually like everything about that. It's especially when she counting like all these people she want to watch the firework with. So like everyone in the council, in the student council had been a significant members in her circles,
Hmm.
and she want to spend time with them. So basically they just she and Shirogane just feeling honest to themselves, and
Yeah, for a brief
that was really
moment.
good. Yeah, for a brief moment, because we have like only misunderstanding that going on later on. That's
Of
so
course.
stupid, but it's still good. You know, like all the triangle and all this. Oh my
The
god,
asterisk,
the
the
asterisk.
planes.
My god.
Yeah,
But
their
yeah,
faces on the planes, that was a bit much for me.
all right. I still enjoyed that bit though.
It was okay.
Yeah, it was okay. So like yeah, I enjoy it. Because of the hype though, I don't really see it as like classic status. It isn't actually like surprise me in any way, but it's still a very good one, a very emotional one.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's a classic by any means.
No, no.
What was the last classic rom-com in anime, do you think? Was it like Toradora?
Um, mm,
Toradora has definitely achieved like modern classic status. It's a big cult hit. There are
uh,
rewatches of it every Christmas, like all across
really?
the internet. Yeah.
All right. I watch it. It's alright. It's not really like that classic to me.
I mean, I honestly I feel the same way. But
Um,
I do think that Toradora has like carved a place for itself into
all
the
right.
annals of rom-com fame. Let's
How
say.
about My Love Story?
Yeah, I really like My Love Story, Ore
I mean,
Monogatari.
yeah, I mean, like, is it like become like classics in anime
Oh,
romance
it's too
wise?
soon. It's too soon to say. It's only been 5 years.
Yep, yep,
Um, I doubt it
yep.
personally.
Hmm.
I think that show is rather straightforward. I don't know if it
Right.
does anything particularly memorable like that's like integral to its plot or its premise.
Yep,
It's it's just like a Beauty and the Beast sort of thing because the guy is tall and has big lips,
yep.
but that's
Nothing wrong with
that's not
that.
that strange. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, I do think a lot of people will probably remember Kaguya-sama for a while, just because it rode on a big wave this season.
huh, right.
Um, but no, I wouldn't say it's a classic or anything like that.
Yep,
To me, it had a couple dud episodes that I just didn't care for at all. But that's personal. That's not
yep.
an opinion that everybody shared. I don't believe.
And it's still like it still function like a sitcom, mostly.
Yep.
Like they have like one set of rules and they follow formula. They have like one set of formula and they follow the formula. Sometimes they would like improvise. They would change a bit of this formula, but basically it's just Kaguya and Shirogane wanted to um, get the others spread themselves first and failed to do that.
Yeah.
It basically drawing on that premise. And for that though, I think the show really does it successfully to like to keep things different and refreshing enough. Because
Yeah.
I don't think like I think just like one or two chapter that I feel like it's repeating itself. Otherwise though, I think like the show does really well. It's keep my attention.
Yeah. And I mean, it does repeat itself many times,
Hmm.
but it doesn't feel that way
Yep. Yep.
because the dynamic between Kaguya and Shirogane is consistent from episode to episode, but there's always some new agent of chaos, whether it be Fujiwara or well, it's mostly Fujiwara,
Yep.
but the scenarios are all different,
That's
and
right.
their thought process is always so convoluted
Hmm.
or so needlessly complex and lengthy
Yep.
that they're able to take many different avenues, like just mentally, to reach the same general endpoint of, oh no, I can't be the first one to confess because, then the show would be over.
Yep. 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 And even when the show is over, they didn't even take a courage to confess to each other.
Oh it's definitely worth noting. The last little bit of dialogue between them, their last interaction is a misunderstanding.
Yep.
She says it's painful, isn't it? And she means, I think, that she kind of bumped into his chest with the handle of the broom or the roller.
Yep.
Because they're doing spring cleaning in the council room.
Yep.
But he of course he's obsessed with her and like her reactions to what he says and does. Like she might call it cute, kind of condescendingly, or say it's painful, like it was painfully cringeworthy, or I think cringeworthy is the word that the script uses, the Crunchyroll script.
Yep.
So that's what he perceives her to mean when she says painful, and then they both run out of the council room. Ha ha ha.
I yep, running through like all these characters that we see so far.
Yeah, I'm still mad that girl who keeps following around Kashiwagi and her boyfriend. She hasn't been able to speak up. What the hell?
All right, I think that's gonna be the second season of Kaguya-sama.
We should have heard her say something by this point.
Or maybe we
Justice for background girl.
All right, maybe we learn that in some OVA.
Maybe. Yeah, this seems like the sort of series that would get an OVA.
One bit of gag that I really like about this one of these segments is when Shirogane thinking about himself, what he did on the firework, and he think himself as a very lame person, and I really like it. It took a lot of laugh out of me because the way he say all this same dialogue, but he have a very lame face, a very unconvincing face.
Yeah, well, I think that's there's some truth in there for people who are watching. Like, when you're talking to a girl or to a woman, you're not totally sure that what's coming out of your mouth is sounding the way you think it sounds. Because I mean, and it doesn't even just have to do with women. Like this is a rom-com, so everything is in a romantic context. But when you talk to anybody about anything, the way that you feel they're going to perceive it or feel about it is not the way they're thinking or feeling about it.
That's right.
So the show kind of exploits that, and Shirogane he seems to be the sort of person who's afraid of failure. Which might be the reason why he works so hard and studies so hard.
Yeah,
I think part of his character.
I think regarding Kasuga, he also has like some of the inferior complex. Like he really scared of her looking down at him.
Yeah, that's true. That's part of why he works so hard to stay number one in Shushin Academy. Like the exam episode 8 or 9 maybe.
Yep.
She works to overtake him as well. So it's not as though he's totally imagining, her desire to surpass him. But yeah, he does want to stay on top, and he does want to be thought of as, somebody who she could care for.
Yep.
So it's not just vanity. He's working hard for his sake, for her sake.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of for her sake.
All right. So how would you rate the shows personally?
I really enjoyed it. I think this is my favorite of the season.
All right.
I even liked in this episode that the ramen, one of the ramen kings was the cab driver.
Yep.
And all the Twitter obsession in the first part of last week's episode kind of paid off in this one, because she tweets again, I want to see the fireworks.
Right.
And he sees that. Apparently without being her follower. Maybe he just refreshes the URL all the time. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So even like what I'm trying to say is that even the segments, the chapters that I don't care for very much, they seem to have some importance going forward. So what little amount of continuity there is in the show, I appreciated, and I
Yep.
also like that it didn't go overboard with that. It created its own world, and that it played within pretty naturally, I think.
Yep.
Um, and I think it was a lot of fun. And when it took a turn for a dramatic, the way it did near the end, I think it was effective. All the scenes of her crying because she felt totally alone were very affecting.
All right. Yeah. Speaking of that, though, I still don't know the reason why the father called her over to see him.
Yeah, it was just to see him, I guess.
It actually making no sense. But yeah.
Yeah,
Well.
I don't get it either.
Um. Yeah. For me, this show work well. As comedy and work well as romance. So it's a very good romantic comedy for me.
Nice, but not a classic. I guess we both
Not
agree
yeah, not
on
a
that.
classics. I think I think in this season only like Mob Psycho 100 could become a classics. But it's still a very enjoyable and I see like the staff taking a lot of care to this show, which is good.
Mhm.
Yeah, overall I like all these characters. I hope they're gonna explain more about like this formula, but yeah, I'm totally fine with the way it is. I really hope that it's can have like the second season.
All right. Well, speaking of Mob Psycho 100,
Yep.
how about we talk about episode 12 of that?
All right, let's do that.
All right. How'd you feel about this episode, the penultimate episode of this season?
I think it was so right.
Wait a minute,
Uh,
didn't you just say that this show has the potential to be a classic? What
yeah,
kind of
well,
classic has episodes that are just all right?
all right. In Motorcycle 100, it still have like a ton long action, cool Sakuga sequences. Plot wise though, I think I already complained about last week about uh the bad the boss the final boss about like he being so um he being like so over the top that like he doesn't come out as like someone we can relate it to.
Well, what do you
This
mean? What do you mean by over the top? Because he doesn't act over the top. Like he
all
he
right
doesn't act
he
like the Joker from Batman, for example. He doesn't act crazed.
Yeah, but the fact that like he doesn't possess any personality either. He's like the stable kind of guy who like I want to take over the world because I'm better than anyone.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I think that is his personality. He seems to be like a psychopath. So he's not going to express himself or emote the same way that a quote unquote normal person does.
yeah, that's why I don't feel him as like as a relatable characters.
Yeah, he's certainly
I
not.
Yeah, well, I think I do think that he's like one of the least written characters out of this show. Like
Hmm.
Mob Psycho 100 had always have a good craft of like giving even like the side characters the personality or some kind of quirk that like like both instantly recognizable and we can like we we can totally like reckon we can totally like know about their context, about like the deeper context of their personality. This guy though, like even spending an entire episode listen to him, I don't really like care that much about him. I
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, I think he just served as like the the version that Mob could become too if he become like like shut off to the world and to uh like if he doesn't have any friends if
No,
he
that's Serizawa.
Yeah. All right.
The guy with the umbrella. That's who Mob would become
Right. 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 Yeah. That's right. That's right.
if he were totally isolated from everybody.
Yep. All right. This guy.
Toichiro, Sho's
Yep.
dad, is
Hmm.
just he's like on another level. He's totally different.
Yep. Tell me more.
Okay. Well, I mean the character who I actually want to talk about is Serizawa,
Hmm.
the NEET,
Hmm.
the shut-in.
All right.
And his his anxiety and his long stint of isolation, just cooped up in his room,
Hmm.
have make him into a much more interesting character than Toichiro.
I agree.
When like he's kind of the flip side of Mob's coin, because Mob manages against all odds to well, maybe that's not an appropriate phrase. Mob tries, like he pursues self improvement in the body improvement club. He joins the telepathy club. He makes friends. At the very beginning of this season, in the first episode, he stands up for the girl whose book is ripped up by her classmates.
Yep.
Even though he is an anxious person who's prone to losing control of his emotions, which is kind of the basis of the whole series.
Yep.
He still does his absolute best. He works his hardest to make friends, to improve himself. But Serizawa was totally consumed by his anxiety and his stress. So he is the other side of the Mob coin.
Yep.
He seems to lose control whenever people disapprove of him, which like threatens his concept of himself. That's what happens when he assumes that Toichiro, who visits him in his room, is a counselor.
Yep.
And the same thing when Mob tells him that what you're doing is wrong, and that the person who you're following is wrong. That's when he totally like loses control. And when his umbrella is stripped away from him, the umbrella like representing the connection between him and Toichiro, since it was given to him by Toichiro.
Yeah. It also represent his comfort zone.
Right. Yeah. When he's under the umbrella, he can think of that as his room.
Yep.
But that's the thing. That's what's so interesting about the way that their dynamic is constructed. When you think about it, the fact that he keeps the umbrella means that he still hasn't actually left his room.
That's
Toichiro
right.
is keeping him in that dark space in order to control him, despite the fact that he's out in the world walking around. But Mob volunteers to be his friend. I don't think Toichiro, offered his friendship.
Yep.
He offered him a partnership,
Yep.
and perhaps protection from the outside world, despite the fact that he's going out into it, because of the umbrella again. But Mob says if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling lonely, then what you need is a friend, and I'll be that friend for you. And I think ultimately that's what brings the two of them onto the same wavelength, despite the fact that they're fighting just moments before. So this is an example, I think, of a fight in like a shonen type series that has something to say, has something behind all the punches and the exchanges of psychic energy and stuff.
Yep.
The show is really grinding an axe. Is making a point.
Yep.
So hats off to the series for that. But the fight against Toichiro is really just let's stop the guy who wants to take over the world.
That's
So
right.
a lot less interesting for me.
Maybe the point of that fight, the final fight, is more about like Mob had to be hard, had to be what was the advice to him the other episodes?
From
Yeah.
Mogami, the guy who
from
escapes from the capsule.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Eh,
you're right. He says I can't remember what word it is exactly. Maybe harsh, maybe strict.
Yeah, you have to be strict to people more. I think so. I think the point, maybe the point in this final fight is like he had to sometimes like talking doesn't work, so he had
Yeah.
to be like just use the power basically to suppress the other guys.
Right. That's a tricky balancing act to pull off though, because if the I mean against Serizawa, he used friendship and essentially love
Mm-hmm.
to communicate with his opponent in the process of overpowering him.
Mm-hmm.
But for the fight against Toichiro, it's just going to be about punch, 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 kick, kick, kick.
Yep.
You have to use violence sometimes, force, in
Yep.
order to communicate with another person. So that I think it's much more difficult to make that argument
Yep.
um, come across as anything like beyond just a big spectacle.
Yeah.
And given the fact that Toichiro's personality is a lot more reserved and that he is much stronger and much more like egomaniacal and just
Mm-hmm.
fixated on power, on his own strength, I don't know if the show is going to be able to pull it off.
Well, the fact that there is his son as well might pull some like emotionals out of him, some emotions out of him. But I'm not. Yeah, I'm not sure how the show will handle this.
Well, that's true. That's a good point. Actually, I wasn't really considering that could be a way that the show could access some deeper emotion because the son is right there. But where, what was show's like status at the end of this episode? I know Mob lends him some of his power,
Yeah,
revealing that he has the same ability as
they
Toichiro. He can give power to people.
yeah, but they already out of the battlefield. I remember that mob sending them. So mob sending the shut in, the son and
Ritsu, his brother.
yeah, and Risu out of the battlefields already.
Right. Oh yeah, I seem to remember that as well. They kind of like jump off the building,
Right. That's right.
and then now Mob is levitating it in midair.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Um,
yep,
so they're set up for a totally isolated final fight.
right. Basically,
Um,
like a god a fight between a god and the two gods.
yeah, pretty much. And it's kind of disheartening that you can imagine how it's gonna go. Like Toichiro is so powerful that he's gonna get to his 100% mode, and then he's gonna get to his question mark mode, and then Toichiro will think to himself, "Oh, so this is your true power, this
Um,
thing that's hidden inside you," and then Mob's gonna
and
do
then
something wicked cool.
yep, and then he's gonna realize that he's not the most powerful person in the
Right.
world, and maybe he will back to be like saving people, and like he know that all he did was wrong, was arrogant. The end.
I don't know if he's gonna get off that easy. I mean, I don't. It might be interesting if Mob were to kill him, perhaps accidentally
Oh,
when he's unconscious, when he's in his other form.
I
And then
don't
he
think so.
might.
Though.
Yeah, well, probably not. But what other ways could it go? Oh, I mean, they both have the ability to give power to people, so they can probably remove it as well, right? Mob might just take his psychic powers away. That might be
Right.
the way that they resolve everything.
Maybe. Maybe. All right. Um, like needless to say though, I'm not really that looking forward to that final, battle between them,
Well, I am because it's gonna look cool as hell.
because it's gonna be just power versus power, superpower versus superpower.
That's been the basis of the entire second half of this season.
Right. Well, right.
But it
Yeah.
should look awesome.
Yeah. It should. It should.
Yeah.
And yep. All right. I'm done with Mob Psycho 100. Do you have any other notes on the show?
Nope. I mean, Reagan showed up for a little bit, but it was of so little consequence that I don't think we even need to talk about it. He just gets,
Yep.
he gets blown out.
Yep. The point of his being there is that it's just that Mob have a friend, have someone who actually look after care about his safety basically.
Yeah, but in the
So
very last episode, he already used the like sneak up on him and punch him trick on the teleporter guy. Like I didn't need to
yep.
see that again. That's just leaning too much on
Yep.
Reagan's status as like a cult character, I think.
Yep. All right. All right,
Get
so
out of
we
here,
can.
Reagan.
Yeah, that's what he did.
Yeah, it's time for the cool characters to fight
All right,
with
so
powers.
we're gonna see another cool characters in Dololo.
Okay, let's move on to that one. Who's the
All
cool
right,
character in Dororo?
so he had Kimaru
Yeah.
against his brother.
Yes.
So
And
I sh-
Tohomaru gets a scar. We see him in the OP with a scar across his right eye. So that's how he got it.
all right. So Tahumaru, after he learning the truth, and after he learning about like the sacrifice, the the necessary sacrifice. I think that's what they say. He decided to try up with his father in order to kill his brother, his older brothers.
Yeah.
Um, all right. I don't know
Right.
what to make of that.
I mean, I think I do. Tohomaru just, you know, he weighs the two options. He
Pros and
understands after a while. I think he understands that if Hyakimaru is allowed to go free, then he's going to keep killing the demons, which will undo the pact that Daigo made with them.
Yep.
And Tohomaru he's really a member of the family, whereas Hyakimaru is not. So he understands the responsibility that he has, and that he'll eventually inherit this land. I
Yep.
can't remember the word that they
Um,
use for.
is
I'm not gonna. It's Japanese. I'm not gonna be able to remember it.
right.
But he just comes to the conclusion that Hyakimaru has to be eliminated.
Yep.
Like for the good of his family and of his people. And honestly, I think it makes sense that he would come to that decision, because in the episode with the giant crab monster,
Yep.
you can tell that like the people love him.
Mhm.
More than his father. He's someone who is like beloved by the common man, and who will communicate with them and go into battle for them on a more personal, more intimate like level than Daigo, just kind of ruling over everybody from his ivory tower.
Yep.
So Tohomaru being someone who wants to protect the common man and the common woman, it makes sense that he would come to the conclusion, Hyakimaru has to be eliminated for the good of all these people. We want the kingdom to stay prosperous. We want everyone to be able to live in peace.
I think it's a fair bit abrupted to me the way that he come up with that conclusion. I still think it's a valid choice that he make. Yeah. So basically, I'm just like half and half. I don't really know if it's good or not. I don't really know if I like it or not.
Okay.
Uh,
I mean, Dororo gives him, or Hyakimaru gives him the scar across his right eye.
right.
And their battle isn't. We don't see a lot of it,
Yep.
because there's a lot going on in that final clash. It's not just Hyakimaru and Tohomaru. It's also Sukeroku, the kid, and Dororo, and there's the evil
Gout.
fox spirit, and
Yep.
the opposing enemy, or the opposing force, like the neighboring
Yep.
country that's getting ready to invade and stuff. So how do you feel about the fact that their fight, Hyakimaru and Tohomaru, we don't see very much of it?
I feel like it's very clunky the way that when the villagers find out that the two sides find out that the spirit fox disappear, they started to basically getting into another fight, and they started to like killing all the prisoners all at the same time. It's very clunky. Like Dororo had always been that clunky for me when it comes to the climax. Like everything come in a big way.
Wait, what was the order of events with the demon fox and like the
Right.
slaughter of the villagers against Banmon, the wall?
Yeah.
So
But
the
wait.
fox goes away, and so as a result
All right.
they decide that it's okay to
Yeah.
Do the
So
execution by arrow? What is
yeah,
that? How it works?
yeah, he had Kimaru fights against the evil fox in the last episode, so that those evil fox was like spirited away, that just vanished for a few
Oh yeah.
days. So they
Oh
think it's
yeah,
safe.
because Daigo's guy shot a few arrows at it.
Right.
Remember?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yakimaru slashes at it a bunch. It has no effect, and then the one guy shoots like 3 arrows, and
Yep.
then it pieces out.
A
I've had enough of
special
this.
arrows. Um, so they say that it's safe to pass the that thing to pass
The
that
wall.
the wall. Yeah. So actually they do the execution there, and then at the same time the two villagers, the two side enemies, they start fighting because they can cross that wall, and
Right.
then the spirit fox just appear again, kill everyone,
Right.
nearly kill the little friends.
Sukiroku. Yeah.
Yeah, yes, and all these things happen at the same time.
Yeah. It's true. It's juggling a lot of plates. I thought they did an okay job of it. Um, Given what they needed to wrap up in this episode, what they had to accomplish.
Mhm.
But the thing that struck me as odd was that the cliffhanger at the end of the last episode was Shakimaru and Daigo standing
Mhm.
across from each other, like staring each other down in that field, the
Yep.
burnt out field.
Yep.
So that's where we pick up at the start of this episode. But he commands his men to kill Hyakimaru, so Hyakimaru runs away.
Mhm.
Then 15 minutes later in the episode, we end up at the exact same place.
Yep.
It's once again Daigo and Hyakimaru facing each other in the same location.
Yep.
So the show just uses those 15 minutes to kind of get all the characters into their necessary positions, like get them all up to speed so they all have the same information and stuff.
Right.
Like, for example, Dororo runs after Sukiroku. They both get imprisoned, and then Dororo escapes
Yep.
and meets up with Hyakimaru, who has gone to see his family at their estate,
Yep.
which is what causes Tohomaru to realize like the situation.
Yep.
That Hyakimaru is his brother, that he's still alive, that he has the curse on him that was instigated by his father. So all that time, all those 15 minutes are spent basically just moving the characters around like pieces on a chessboard. But they end up in the same spot. So I wonder if I wonder if there was a way that the show could have done things differently in the lead up to
Yeah.
the characters being there and having that final conflict.
That's
I don't
right.
know.
I would say that that instead of meeting of the meeting at the beginning of episodes, let's just build up like all these different plot threads into like one big final climax. I think that would be more clear, and that would be more like building up than like starting with this the battle, and then like just 15 minutes of gathering information, basically just move very little and then get back to the point
Yeah.
again. Well,
It didn't ruin the episode for me or anything. I think it did a decent job of concluding these last, it has been like 2, 3, or even maybe 4 episodes in a row now that have all belonged to the same story,
mhm.
essentially. Beginning with Tohomaru's like information gathering quests. He's trying to find out what exactly is going on, and as it dawns on him, all the characters get closer and closer together. So there's a nice parallel there, but
Mhm.
I do think that they could have pulled it off a little better, especially since this is an adaptation of a 50-year-old work. So
Yep.
I'm sure they're allowed some freedom in how they adapt it.
Yep.
I think they could have taken a different path. But
Well,
I'm not displeased with the episode, so to speak.
right. Yep. Well, at the same time, we got the mother getting more involved. Now that he
Oh
know
yeah,
that her oldest son is in fact alive and still having the curse.
yeah,
So yeah, so she actually like go to the battlefield and hold up the statue.
Hmm.
which have like the green color, and I'm not really sure what the green colors represent.
Well, I assume it has to do with the fact. I assume that it has to do with the fact that she prayed to it
Yep.
for so many years.
Yep.
So it's probably you know taken on some of that spiritual energy, and that's why it appears green in what's his face Hyakimaru and the warrior monk in their view.
Mm-hmm.
It looks green. Maybe it can be used to ward off demons or evil or something of that nature. I don't know. Maybe the green is supposed to represent like the love that she has for him,
Mm-hmm.
for her lost child.
All right.
It's significant in some way. I mean, I guess we can't exactly pin it down.
Right. Well, right. She's still alive though, right? She want to sacrifice herself,
Yeah,
and I,
well, yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
is this is stuff herself.
No, she didn't.
All
Oh,
right.
that's actually a good question. You know, I kind of felt as though she had two knives,
Huh.
and the one of them she plunged into her own breast. The one of her hands was grabbed by
The
who
statue.
was it? One of
Oh,
one of Tohomaru's
yep, yep.
men,
Underlink.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. I thought she for a moment I thought that she did manage to
Stab
stab herself
herself.
with the other one. But
Um,
I don't think so. I
it
have to go
was
back.
yeah, it wasn't really clear to me, but I don't know. I think the next episode we're gonna see more clearly. I think she did stab herself, but not enough because she want to sacrifice herself as well. So she did
Yeah,
stab
but
herself, but
sacrifice
not
herself for what?
for like for the curse. So she want to be a part of that curse.
Wait, what? How would that work?
I have no idea. I think that
Okay.
that was what she meant to do.
I thought she was just I thought the reason she wanted to kill herself was to atone for what she had quote unquote done, even though it was really Daigo who when
Yep.
she's, like exhausted and helpless in the wake of childbirth, he just like grabs the baby and sends it off to the river.
Yep.
Um she but it's not as though she is, guilty, but she feels that way.
Yeah, she
So
blamed
she's
herself for that.
yeah, she's so overcome by grief that after she apologizes to Hyakimaru, like I think on some level she feels the way Daigo feels because she says to him, "All I can do is apologize."
Yep.
For how things have turned out. She can't take any action to reverse what has been done.
Yep.
So she apologizes, and then as a way of like assuaging her grief, I guess, she tries to commit suicide.
All right.
And I don't think it worked. Yeah, that's a good question. I had kind of forgotten actually that the attempt may have been successful because I was also kind of misdirected by the show, I think.
Yeah, that moment when everything like everyone in the fight, it's a bit confusing. I think the direction wasn't really very clear at that point.
Yeah.
It
Well,
jumped across too many like too many events, too many
yeah.
characters.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Well, if she pops up in a future episode, I mean, we're gonna watch one more next week,
two
right?
more.
Oh yes, yes, yes. We're gonna watch one more next week, and then we're gonna watch the 14th episode as well for our
It,
our
first
our
impression.
sampling of the spring series.
Right. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So maybe she'll pop up again in one of those two episodes, and everything will be cleared up.
Yep. Let's see.
Cool.
Yeah, the fact that his brother lost a night, I think will have like a significant impact to maybe his personality or to himself in the future. What do you think of that?
Perhaps.
will,
Yeah.
will,
Like the
will
fact that
he
his vision is
become
limited. Will it
yeah?
impact him in combat somehow?
Will he become good? Will he become bad? Will he be like obsessed to Hyakimaru?
Um,
Like
I don't
yeah.
know.
All right.
Maybe like the fact that he's bearing this scar now, and whenever he looks at himself, I guess they don't have mirrors. Whenever he sees himself in like a
In the
reflective
lake.
surface, yeah, the water or something like that, he'll see the mark that his brother left on him, and he's already shown himself to be sort of an obsessive character, like the way that he hunts down information about the limbless baby.
Yep.
He
Yep.
even has his men use that truth drug on one of Daigo's guys. Um, he does seem to have an obsessive personality, so
Yeah, he seemed reasonable enough for me now. So
yeah,
actually, like, yeah. So I'm not really sure like the direction he would take in the future.
me neither. I mean, he's come to the conclusion. That's the conclusion that he reaches, that Hyakimaru needs to be stopped. But Hyakimaru is not going to stop. I'm sure he wants his body back.
Yep.
Or at least that's the course we're going to go down as the show continues. He's going to keep stumbling across demons or hunting them, whatever you prefer.
Mm-hmm.
Tohomaru may, like, his future appearances may be to try to stop Hyakimaru.
Yep.
Or perhaps to meet him and speak with him, like try to plead with him not to recover himself totally. That's something I've been thinking about. Like, Hyakimaru may not defeat all the demons. He may, his eyes may stay the way they are now, and he'll get everything else back.
All right. How many demons he have to kill? Is that like 10 of them in this anime version?
Yeah, 12, right?
12. Yeah. I don't even know how many that he killed already.
Yeah, me neither. I haven't been keeping count or anything.
Right.
Probably like half of that. I don't know.
Yeah. And some of them actually have escaped. Remember remember the one where what is she, the spider?
Yeah.
Yes, he actually escaped.
Was she one of the actual demons?
Have no
Like
idea.
the demons in the Hall of Hell?
We can tell unless like he actually killed the monster and then he gets some of his body pack back.
Right.
So I'm not really sure either.
Yeah. I don't know.
All right.
We good for this one?
Yep. I think we're good for this one. Let's get to Gunbuster.
All right.
So
Episodes 4 through 6.
so we watched the entire last second half of Gunbuster, and next week we're gonna watch the entire Diebuster.
Yes. Gonna have to take some comprehensive notes.
Right. How do you feel about the 3 episodes?
I thought they were much better than the first 3. I thought
Yeah?
I thought the series came into its own here. It felt almost like a different beast.
All right.
How about
All
you?
right. I need to tell you about that because I'm not really sure on these 3 episodes. I think it's just too fragment. Like for me, I feel like the all these event from one episode to the next is somehow disconnected. Like the toll for me, even like the event themselves.
Well, there's a lot of
felt-
time skips.
Yeah, there was a lot of time skip, and yeah, I don't really feel the connection between the segment that much, and I just feel like there is a lot of like lost opportunities. There are some really neat ideas, but they don't. For me, the show doesn't really trying to address it very well.
I see.
So tell me more about why you like.
Well, I'm kind of
is-
interested to hear you say that you felt it was fragmented and that you felt there were missed opportunities, because you seem to be a big fan of like the time
Yep.
gap or the time dilation, whatever it's
Right.
called, between in episode 2
Yep.
when they go on that mission in space. They travel at like sub light speed,
Yeah,
and as a result they age much more slowly than the people on Earth.
Yep.
I seem to
Actually,
be a big fan of that, and that plays very heavily into these last 3 episodes.
that's right. This was like one of the part that I really enjoy out
Yeah.
of like the 3 episodes. So like, you can see that Nori Kazumi getting old. She's getting like 15 years old older, and when she got back to Noriko, that was just 6 months have passed. So
Yeah.
that's one bit of this bit of information was will actually keep me interested. But then you have like the coach, like the prospect of like their mission will end after the coach had passed away. So
Hmm.
like one of the girl break out like in the middle of the mission. That just feel too much
In
for me.
episode
Five, I think.
in episode
Five.
5.
Five. Yeah.
Is that right? I watched all these episodes on different days, so I'm trying to
All
remember.
right.
I have tons of notes here. They're all just like bombarding me. All these bullet points. Yes, I guess it is episode 5. That's where Kazumi is like, I don't want to go. I don't want to travel at light speed because then the coach will have died because it's
Yep.
it's revealed that he has this space radiation sickness,
Yep.
and she's in love with him, so she doesn't want to miss the opportunity to be with him or to confess how she feels.
And
Um,
then
yeah,
yeah,
I will agree that that felt pretty abrupt. Honestly, I feel like everything having to do with the coach is the weakest part of Gunbuster.
that I agree. And also like when I said about missed opportunity, I feel like other characters like Jung Fruit, she doesn't really develop that much. Like suddenly in episode 4, she have like the duel, the challenge
Right.
to Noriko, and then that doesn't really show anything. That doesn't really do anything.
Yeah.
Uh, because Noriko having like a nervous breakdown.
Yeah, well,
Uh,
I think that's exactly what it shows, and that's exactly what it does. Is that Jung is, or Jung, I guess,
yep.
is kind of prodding at her and poking at her, getting her to, she's for on the one hand she's jealous of her because she wants to be the best, and
Mm.
Noriko is the one who's given that distinction and the privilege of piloting Gunbuster, but on the other hand, I think we learn as the series goes on that Jung is also interested in humanity's survival and in everyone's success. So when she kind of picks on Noriko that way, and when she like tries to get in her space and tries to have this duel with her, she's not doing it out of malice.
Mm.
It's true that jealousy, like she's a redhead, and she seems to have that like fiery temper that's built into her character, but she also wants to see Noriko pushed to the point where she'll evolve.
Right. Uh, I don't really feel that though. So yeah, for
Well,
for
don't
me,
you think that the way that her character like stays in space
yeah.
with Noriko even after Kazumi goes back to Earth,
Mhm.
and the how emotional she is when in episode 6 when the two girls have to use Gunbuster to activate the black hole. She
Yep.
seems to be like very emotional about that because those are two people who she's made a connection with in space.
Well,
Um,
basically, from what I gather though, it's like just the three of them. I don't remember there's many much else survive after the event of the episode 3. For,
yeah,
for
when there's
after
that big
episode
invasion.
yeah, after episode 4 actually. So we watched 4, 5, 6, right? So after
Hmm.
episode 4. So yeah, she kind of see them as like their true her true friends. I get that. I still feel like she really underdeveloped.
Well, compared to Noriko and Kazumi, that's certainly true.
Yeah.
I mean, and even Noriko overshadows Kazumi in terms of the focus that the series places on her. And I
Right.
mean, it
Right.
is her story.
Yep. Yep. That's true.
Yeah, more could have been done with Jung, I guess. I mean, it's also important to remember that this is a 6 episode OVA. It came out over the course of I want to say a year
Yep.
between 88 and 89.
Yep.
So any fragmented feeling that you get, it's not like it's not a weekly series, and it does skip over large chunks of time
Yep.
based on its premise.
And I think that work for the show's premise though, because the shows have always this show has always been concentrated on the difference in timeline between the people in space and the people on Earth.
Yeah, like Kimiko, Noriko's friend.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I thought that was a really neat scene
Right.
in episode 5
Yep.
when Noriko goes back. Noriko and Kazumi, they both go back for their graduation ceremony,
Mm-hmm.
high school graduation.
Yep.
And 10 years have passed for everybody else.
Right.
So Noriko is able to reunite with Kimiko, who now has family. She has a little 3-year-old daughter,
Yep.
who she asks Noriko to get on board the Eltrium, the evacuation ship.
Yep.
I really like that scene. That scene is very Anno-esque for me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
like the grocery cart in the foreground, kind of
Yep.
representing Kimiko's adult responsibilities, which have been temporarily set to the side.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that like Kimiko is sitting still on her swing,
Yep.
she's not playing on the playground, kind of representing her adulthood, while Noriko is like swinging back and forth as they're talking,
Mhm.
representing the fact that she is still a child.
Yep.
I like
Well,
the quietness of that scene and the symbolism of it.
And to add to the like to the I think the time you see like in the Noriko room they have like some poster from Ghibli.
Yeah, that was in episode. Yeah, that was also in episode 5.
Yeah, and
There was a Totoro poster, a Nausicaa poster, and there was
yeah,
also a Van Halen poster on her ceiling, I think.
that's right. That's right. um, it from the fact that this show it was released in like 1988 and 1989, Totoro is just a year or two.
Right, but the show is set in what 2045, or I mean, I
Yeah,
guess it's set at all different times
right.
and years and stuff. But
Mhm.
I think does it start in like 2035, and
Yep,
then there's a
yep,
10-year time skip. It goes to 45.
yep.
Well, it's good to know that the Ghibli classics are still around,
Yay. Or,
like
may,
26 years from now,
or maybe they just lost on the meaning.
maybe. And
Yeah,
she's the only one who remembers them because uh, she's still a child,
right, maybe.
and
But
not as much time has passed for her.
yeah, but and then we get to the end where Noriko and Kazumi return safely from their mission to 12,000 years in the future.
Oh, we're skipping all the way to the end. Yeah,
I just get to the fact that like after 12,000 years they go back to Earth, and they still see the side of the welcome home.
right. Yeah, Earth has not forgotten about them after 12,000 years.
Yeah, so I just can't even. I don't know, man.
You didn't really feel it.
No,
Didn't feel that scene.
yeah, I did. I feel it's a feel implausible to me.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, I agree.
do they just keep the side for like 12,000 years?
I don't know, man. They saved the Earth. By sacrificing themselves to activate the Buster machine number 3, the big black hole generator.
Yeah.
So I have to imagine that like in textbooks, as part of children's educations on Earth, they were taught about Noriko and Kazumi. It is
the
Kazumi, right? Yes,
Kazumi,
it is. Okay.
in the same line with like Lane Armstrong or something.
Neil Armstrong, Lance Armstrong. Who are
Lance
you talking
Armstrong.
about? Lance Armstrong is the cyclist. You're talking about Neil Armstrong.
Is it Neil Armstrong? Sorry, Neil Armstrong. Yeah.
Well, their position in history would way overshadow Neil Armstrong's because they like saved all of humanity.
All right.
So they're probably thought of, and it's on a global scale too, not just a national one. Like Neil Armstrong is probably much more important for American curriculum.
Yep.
But like, Noriko and Kazumi, they're probably spoken of in reverent tones the world over.
Oh,
Does that mean that they'd be welcomed home like that after 12,000 years?
nope.
No, it doesn't. But I think it's supposed to be a feel-good way to end the series.
Right. All right. How how do you make of the show decided to go to black and white in the last episodes?
That was a decision that I wasn't too thrilled about.
Yep.
Um, I mean,
It
it's not as though the cells and the backgrounds were colored, and they just shot it in grayscale. It was
it
actually black and white. Like everything was illustrated in black and white.
really is there any like practical reason why?
I don't know.
Right.
Probably. I mean, I have to imagine, given what I know about Gainax production, always running really close to deadlines. I mean,
Yep.
in the next episode preview for episode 4, they literally say the production was approved so quickly that we don't even have a script for the next episode. They say that, and I'm sure you remember when we watched Nadia.
Yep.
Um, some of the next episode previews were like just a bunch of sketches
Yep.
and not much else.
Right.
This seems to be how Gainax functions. Probably because they were just a bunch of like college students who got together and formed a studio on the basis of their passion for anime, not because they had any business acumen.
I don't even know how they could survive and be like one of the classic studio anime studio ever.
Is just because I think it's just because they had a lot of talented people on board, and they were all like obsessives. They were all otaku who just wanted to do this and nothing else, and probably starved themselves and
Yeah,
you know
they
just
do
dedicated everything to this.
well. They do make some really bouncy animation though. I gonna send you one.
Wait, you're not gonna send me a gif of
Oh,
something in particular bouncing, are you? Don't put that on my screen.
all right. How do you know? I gonna send you
You
that.
know how I know. I mean, it's the famous Gynax bounce. That's
my God.
that's
Yep.
gonna live in infamy for a while longer, I assume. Maybe not for 12,000 years,
All
but lots
right.
of people know about the Gynax bounce.
Yeah. Tell me more about how. Um, tell me more about why you like the 3 episodes. Like, what what do you like about them? I,
Um, a lot of what I like about episode 4 comes from the things that I liked about episode 3. So,
yep.
for example, the the practice match, the sparring with Jung
Yep.
that
Yep.
Noriko is going to go through near like the start of that episode. Um, she goes out into space and immediately she's like paralyzed with fear.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a shot of like a kind of a long shot where the camera is like really removed from the action, where it's Jung's mech is standing up, but Noriko's is like cowering on the ground,
Yep.
and you can hear like her cries very very softly,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and that's the only sound because they're out in space and all the stars are in the background. They seem to be like bearing down on her.
Yep.
Sorry, I just accidentally hit my mic stand. I don't know if you got an audio spike.
No, 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 no. It's okay
Okay.
from my end.
Um, just the that sense of isolation, fear, anxiety, that Anno is kind of a pro at capturing. That recurred in episode 4, and Noriko, like the way that in the wake of that experience, where she's feeling totally alone, she finds the resolve to go into space after being benched by the coach. Like
Mm-hmm.
he takes her out of the rotation when there's another invasion.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
And I think he's using reverse psychology on her. Clearly, he wants her to, be
Yep.
angered by that. Let's say, so that she'll be like, "Put me in, coach."
Yep.
But I think she also finds something within herself,
Mm-hmm.
which gives her the resolve to go out again and to finally get past what happened with Smith.
To actually drive the Gunbuster.
Right. Yeah, which blows up a million zillion space bugs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Amazing.
Yeah, it's cool. And one of the main things that I like about these episodes is this is where Noriko like truly becomes a badass. And I have to imagine that this was one of the first series that had a female robot pilot.
All right.
I mean, Gundam probably did it first, and maybe even something before Gundam. But the way that she kind of embodies like the hot-blooded mecha pilot trope with her her primal screams and the synced up animations of her like doing what Gunbuster is doing, her in the cockpit going through what the robot is doing externally, are really cool. And I think it's neat that sort of emotion and that sort of action are attributed to a female pilot. So I like the series focus on women as the protagonists. Although, I think I said this before, but the coach gets too involved sometimes.
Oh my god, the coach.
Yeah, everything about him I don't really appreciate. Like the fact that he's like in episode 5 when he backhands Kazumi.
Right.
And then immediately afterwards we learn that he's sick, like he's dying.
Yep.
What a terrific way to excuse violence.
Yeah.
Just by revealing that he's, like a sick man.
Yeah.
That's not great,
And he's always the one who, like put Noriko on spot and don't even like explain himself. Like everyone keep questioning him about like why you still, like putting too much trust on Noriko, and he just like he just like pushed
It's my
off.
decision.
This is my decision. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
It sucked.
I mean, you and I can probably guess why he put it all on her. It's because of his relationship with her father.
Yep. Well,
because he was a captain and the coach was a member of his crew. So he feels as though Noriko has the potential to pilot the Gunbuster just because of genetics, I guess, or just because he.
That favoritism, right?
Yeah, it's definitely favoritism.
My God. So yeah, he the worst.
Yeah, he's not a great character. I think there might have been a way for the show to tell its story without relying on the coach and to a lesser extent Torrin Smith as like love interests for and motivators for the female characters. For example, Noriko's friendship with Kimiko. If that had been fleshed out a little more, if that had been strengthened a little more, and perhaps if Noriko's relationship with Kimiko's daughter had been given a little bit more time.
That's right.
Then that could have represented all the people on Earth for whom Noriko is fighting. And we wouldn't have needed her, like, thinking about Torrin Smith. Undoubtedly the worst character in Gunbuster. When there are, like, significant moments, she wouldn't have to think, oh, Smith, if only you were here,
He comes and goes like wind.
Yeah.
Like,
like a wind that blew through her youth.
That's right. That blew through like 2,000 years. Is that 20,000 years?
12,000?
12,000 years. Yeah, 12,000 years. My God.
Yeah.
12,000 years.
Yeah, the coach is a bit of a drag on the series for me, and I don't just mean that like, give me my cute girls and nothing else. I genuinely think that he was like a narrative sinkhole a little bit.
Yep.
Also, what is the deal with the weirdly Japanese scene in episode 4 where he's in his room on the ship, which is like it has tatami mats and he's playing Go by himself. He's playing like solitaire Go, with the black and white tiles on the board that he's placing down while Kazumi is talking to him.
Yeah, I don't remember that though.
And there's like wall scrolls on the walls and sozu, the Japanese the water device where it hits the rock and goes dong.
All right. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
That scene is like totally Japanese. And we don't see anything like that anywhere else in the series, except for maybe all the paper cranes that Kazumi's students make for her before she goes back out into space in episode 6.
Yep.
They make like 1,000 origami cranes or something, and hang them up all in one big thing that she keeps in the cockpit of the robot.
Yep. No idea.
Which was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
That was a weird scene, like the scene where he barges in episode what was it, 5, 6? I can't remember.
Yep.
And he like explains his master plan to all of the guys in the boardroom.
Oh,
we're gonna
4.
4? Really, not
Yep.
5?
4.
Okay. He barges in and says we're gonna use it as a black hole or something.
Yep.
So I guess they recycle that plot. They use the original ship, the Excelsior, or what is it called? Not the Eltrium, but the
Socio or something.
well, Excelsior. That's like what they say in Star Trek. What's forget it. It doesn't matter. The Excellion.
Yep. Right.
They want to use it as a black hole, so then they recycle that plot for episode 6 with the gigantic black hole machine. Just the way that he like zooms into the boardroom, we at this point we've learned he's sick and he's dying, and he conveys his brilliant plan. Just his character Anno improved on tenfold with Kaji in Evangelion.
Right.
Kaji is the coach, but given much more humanity, much more cleverness, and less violence against women. So it's another one of Anno's ideas that was kind of refined in his later work, which I think if you watch a lot of his stuff as he goes on, a lot of stuff recurs. I'm sure you notice like a few parallels between Nadia and
this one. That's
this
right.
one. Yeah, he has his favorite set of themes.
Yep.
For sure.
Well, never do violence. I think it's like the product of the 80s, when this kind of stuff,
the nudity as well,
allowed.
Yeah, like the scene where Gunbuster in episode 6 is ripping out its engine, its heart.
Yeah.
And she does the same thing, and of course one of her breasts is exposed. I do think that scene is very cool, like that the robot mirrors her actions, that she's so connected with it. Yep. But the fact that like one of her boobs pops out is it's too Gynaxy.
I just don't think it's practical, because she's gonna stay like that for 12,000 years.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
So well, all right.
She's got one of her tits hanging out for 12,000 years.
So yeah, when you think about it that way, it just
maybe there was a backup suit on the ship or something, or on the Gunbuster. I don't know. Or maybe in the 12,000 years they would have taken some of the paper cranes and like smoothed them out to cover up that part of her outfit.
But on the other hand, though, because there's no people watching, she's just staying alone, so she's just allowed to wear whatever she wants.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that big a deal, especially not in terms of like the overall narrative and the heightened emotion of that scene. It doesn't, like, that detail when you think it out to its logical extent. The 12,000 years with one breast exposed doesn't matter that much. But that's a terrific meme. I'm surprised that isn't like something I knew about Gunbuster already. Like 12,000 years in that scenario.
All right,
it's
you have
funny,
any other notes for Gunbuster?
Honestly, I have tons more.
All right, go on.
I don't want to go over all of them.
You can pick one note.
Okay. Damn, I have so many. I don't know. I guess I'll just. Oh yeah, the fight against the space bugs in episode 6. The final episode, which is just a bunch of still images and candid shots.
Right.
And there's like a shimmering effect kind of applied on some of those still images to represent like action, or maybe even to simulate heat, like the way that heat causes things to waver in our vision.
Yep.
That also seemed to me to be,
production issues.
Yeah, just cutting corners. Yeah. And it's something that Anno does in all of his shit, because he just, I don't know, he concentrates too much time and effort in the beginning and can't properly budget everything, his time, his money, whatever.
At, at one
So
point,
that actually was a drag for me in episode 6. I didn't
that's
like
right.
that.
At one point, though, I thought that like the episode 6 was like the unfinished product, so that they're gonna have just like those slideshow from then until like the end of the episodes.
Oh, yeah,
was
thankfully not.
I was like, all right, that's interesting. But then, yeah,
I
it
mean,
flipped back
Yeah.
to action and even colors, I think.
No, color? The only
Yeah.
color in the entire episode was the welcome home
All right.
like configuration of lights.
All
I
right.
don't believe it was a sign. I think like on Earth they had a bunch of lights arranged to say welcome home. And I'm sure that, the lights had other purposes. They were like residential or corporate, like business offices, whatever.
Yep.
But they did have them arranged in such a pattern that they
Yeah.
would say welcome home. And I mean that's how you know that everyone knows about them. It's not just a coincidence or anything.
Right.
Over the course of 12,000 years, they've taken care to keep this arrangement. It's totally implausible, but it's supposed to be a nice moment for them because they
Yeah.
did sacrifice their lives for the sake of humanity.
And you need to think that it's not even like in one country, it's like a multiple countries,
Yeah.
so that it can appear when you see that from other space.
Yeah, and how did they know that they would approach the Earth from that angle?
Yeah, well, all right. That's a lot of questions. They will
yeah.
ask question in the sci-fi movies.
Yeah. One more thing I want to say before wrapping up is that in episode 5, which is the one where Noriko and Kazumi go back for their high school graduation,
Yep.
and there's the 10-year time skip, I thought that the background art was superb. When they come home, like all the foliage, all the plants, and just like the shots of the school and the scene where they're on the playground and the sun is setting behind them. I feel as though particular care was poured into those backgrounds to make it feel kind of nostalgic for the two returning characters. Because I noticed like a big upswing in just like the detail packed into that background art. I thought that was tremendous. That went a long way, I think, in increasing my appreciation of episode 5.
Right.
So I wanted to mention that.
Yep. So, like at the end, I'm not really that enthusiastic over Gunbuster.
Okay.
I hope Diebuster gonna improve that.
Yeah,
Consider that
Diebuster's
is
a totally different thing.
Yeah, consider that is the director from Fuliculi.
Right. And it's also like it is a sequel, but the connection between the two is pretty loose. A lot of people came to Gunbuster after seeing Diebuster.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it can be enjoyed totally on its own. And the connections between them will just kind of be nice Easter eggs for the two of us who have seen Gunbuster.
Yeah, and I think the format as well, because I remember like I think the last episode of Diebuster will be in black and white as well.
Really?
Yeah, for just like to reprise the original.
Huh. Okay.
Yep.
Well, maybe they'll do something different or better with it.
All right. So
That'll be
how
for us to judge.
How would you rate this show out of all of the annual series that you have watched so far?
I mean, Evangelion's one of my favorite anime ever made, so that's untouchable for me.
Yep.
This one I would say is about the same as Nadia.
Oh, really? Wow, right.
Yeah, I mean, Gunbuster has its weak episode. To me, that's episode 3. Nadia has its weird island filler.
Yep.
So, and they both have troubled production. They both deal with the themes of like, self-worth, low self-esteem, isolation, and well, the thing that separates Gunbuster for me. I mean, they both have sci-fi premises as well. The thing that differentiates Gunbuster for me from Nadia and from a lot of other work in general in anime is the how quickly it evolves. Like episode 1 is really campy and kind of silly, and it quickly, like, the episodes are all less than 30 minutes. So, and there are only 6 of them, so it ramps up really fast. And it puts a lot of pressure on Noriko's character to carry the series. And for the most part, I think it succeeds. She's very emotional, and she is breaking down constantly. She stumbles a lot, but in the end, I think that her, just the raw performance that her voice actress gives, and the viscerality of Gunbuster's movements, and the way that she teams up with Kazumi and they reach an understanding together as two characters, despite the time difference between them and the difference in their philosophies. I think that all comes together through the 6 episodes. So with Noriko at the center, I think it succeeds.
All right.
I just, I like those primal screams when she's in the cockpit, and the way that she overcomes her demons, like the grief that she feels over her father's death, and the hopelessness that she feels in space for a certain time. That's the highlight for me. So I think that's what raises it up. Whereas Nadia is a little more psychological, more of a true adventure series. So that's why I like Nadia, for different reasons.
All right.
So I did enjoy Gunbuster.
All right. That's good to hear. All right.
Hopefully, I hope Diebuster's even better. I love Fooly Cooly, so I
Alright.
hope it doesn't disappoint.
Yep. So for next week, we're gonna do the next episode of Dororo, the finale of Mob Psycho 100, and we're gonna discuss about Diebuster. We're gonna watch the whole thing and gonna review it next week.
The week after, we'll be doing our Spring 2019 First Impressions.
Yep.
With 10 series. We're going to do Dororo, as we mentioned before, and the 9 new ones. And I'm pretty excited for that because we have some good shit, it seems, coming up.
Right. Do you want us to review now?
Yeah. Do you want to just tack it on to the end of the podcast here? Or no?
Yep, I don't mind.
Okay. Do you have the list?
Yep, I think I can manage.
All right, go for it.
All right, so the 10 show that we're gonna do for the samples for the spring 2019 first impression are Sarazamite, the new show from
Ikuhara,
Caron and Tuesday
from Watanabe.
Yep. Mix.
Hell yeah.
3. So we have 3. Fruit Basket is number 4. Kimetsu no Yaiba, number 5. Oh, it's just not out. It's just in random orders, basically. At number 6 is Fairy Gone. Do we do that? Yep.
Yeah, from PA Works.
PA Works. Number 7, we have Guncho no Macmel.
Yeah.
For Studio Period.
Yeah.
Number 8. Let me scroll down.
Well, Dororo is one of them.
Yeah, Dororo is number 8. One Punch Man second season, number 9.
And Ultraman, right?
Ultraman, that's right.
Yes.
That's number 10.
Yeah.
So
I think
Yep.
both of us, there were 8 series that we shared as being interested in, or maybe it was 6.
Yep.
Was it 6? I don't know.
We say the top 3, though.
I think it was 6, and then of the other 4, you're interested in Gunjo no Magmel and what was it?
Yeah.
And Fruits Basket, and then I was interested in Ultraman and Fairy Gone.
You didn't really like Fruit Basket?
I think I did list Fruits Basket. I can't remember what the other one was.
Yep.
Well, we got our 10, and we got new Ikuhara, new Shinichiro Watanabe. Hopefully one of them will be good. Hopefully both will be good, but if one is good, I'll be happy. Like if one is really good.
They has to be good.
That's right, or else we're quitting.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm
Oh,
quitting.
we don't do the anime of the decade anymore.
I mean, if we don't have a new series to add on, what's the point?
Yep. All right.
All right,
That's it for us this week.
okay.
Thank you and see you next week.
Bye, everybody.